Well, good day. Welcome to episode 20 of The Driving Force, presented by the Louisiana Transportation Research Center. My name is Todd Blunt. I'm joined today by my friend, colleague, and co-host, Garrett Wheat.
Good afternoon.
We're thrilled that you've chosen to join us as we're going to highlight the people and projects driving change in Louisiana transportation. For the past 39 years, LTRC has merged the resources of state government and Louisiana universities to identify, develop, and implement new technology to enhance our state's transportation system. For the past two episodes, we've been talking highway safety with several of our friends and partners from the safety section at Louisiana DOTD headquarters. And today we are wrapping up this three-part series with a deep dive into data management. Well, to share with us how Louisiana DOTD is collecting, analyzing, and utilizing a broad range of safety data, we're thrilled to welcome Jessica DeVille, Assistant Highway Safety Administrator responsible for crash data, and Jared Chaumont, the Lake Charles District Traffic Operations Engineer, to the show today. This is a great topic, important topic. It brings together many different stakeholders from across the state, and it benefits all of us who are on the roads every day. We're going to take a quick break before we begin our conversation with Jessica and Jared. Welcome back to The Driving Force. As we said before we stepped away, we are finishing our series today on highway safety, and we have Jessica DeVille and Jared Chaumont here with us to help wrap things up. Welcome, Jessica and Jared. Well, before we talk safety and crash data, tell our listeners a little bit about yourselves. Tell us a little bit about your education and career background and how it intersects with what you're doing with DOTD.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. So I'm Jessica DeVille, the Assistant Administrator of Highway Safety at DOTD, and my education is in environmental engineering, actually. I went to LSU and graduated in environmental engineering, and then I got my master's in smart sustainable cities from UAB, and I am really interested in quality of life, sustainability, resiliency, all of these things that are not really typical of transportation engineers. But for me, bike and pedestrian safety too is a big part of it, and active transportation. And safety is a huge part of quality of life. Anytime that we have, a transportation system that is killing people, we're not safely being able to move from place to place, it is impacting our day-to-day lives and our livelihood. So that's something that I'm really passionate about.
Thank you guys for allowing me time to speak with you today. My name is Jared Chaumont. I'm the District Traffic Operations Engineer in the southwestern part of Louisiana. We serve 5 parishes: Allen, Beauregard, Cameron, Calcasieu, and Jeff Davis.
Say that 5 times fast.
But I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from McNeese State University. I have over 20 years experience in LA DOTD traffic engineering, working in both Monroe District for 8 years and in the Lake Charles District for an additional 13 years. Safety is fundamentally intertwined with traffic engineering. Safety is also part of our fundamental canon of engineering ethics. We prioritize the safety, health, and welfare of the public in what we do, and we take pride in doing it.
Can you give us an overview of the journey that crash data takes in Louisiana from the time of an actual event until it gets to y'all? What are the different organizations and groups involved throughout that entire process?
Yeah, before I get into that, can I just make a little distinction right now between safety data and crash data?
Sure.
Yeah.
So for crash data, what we're talking about is what the officer collects at the scene of the crash. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the who, what, where, why, when of the crash data. It takes into account things like, who was driving, which way were they going, manner of collision, that kind of information that's collected on our crash report. When we talk about safety data, we're talking about kind of a broader subset of data that includes traffic data, ADTs and volumes. It includes roadway data, information about what the roadway, how it's operating, the speeds, how many lanes. It includes things like more additional information about people. So we might be integrating with post-crash care. So for EMS data, the LEARN network, there might be additional data elements and fields that we're bringing in for safety data. And it all goes back to kind of the safe system approach when we're talking about safe roads, safe speeds, safe road users. You kind of need to paint the whole picture, and crash data really only gives us a part of that. So when we talk about the crash, once a crash is reported, the law enforcement arrives at the scene and completes an investigation, and the resulting information is entered into our Louisiana eCrash, the state's crash reporting software. Once it gets approved by the officer supervisor, it's sent to Louisiana's Office of Technology Services and then transmitted to LSU's Center for Analytics and Transportation Safety, CARTS, and they are really our data steward at DOTD. They work on the data integration, data quality. We spend about 8 months wrapping up the year, so just doing quality checks on it, removing personal identifying information from the data that we use day to day, so trying to protect people's privacy. And then once that whole process is done, like updating locations and map spotting and all of that, the data is finally, the whole year at a time, is released for use. So in about eight months or so. And that's kind of how it goes. So we have a lot of safety partners working on it. CARTS, Louisiana State Police, the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission. DOTD is the official repository. We're responsible for the statewide crash database, but we work with a lot of partners to do all of this data integration. And then, of course, the more than 300 law enforcement agencies in the state that are reporting crashes and using our Louisiana eCrash software to give us this great information that our stakeholders and transportation professionals use daily. So that brings us to Jared. And Jared is really a big user of the crash data. How are you kind of using this at your district?
Well, what we do, I want to give you a little history of the crash reporting and what I've experienced in my time at DOTD. Years ago, we'd have to request the copies of the crash reports from the local enforcement agencies. This may take days, weeks, months to get the data. Today, with the court system, we are receiving primarily for fatals and serious injury crashes, we're receiving the data sometimes the next day.
Wow.
Through an email. And what that does is that allows our district personnel to respond to the location in a more timely manner and perform an inspection of the road, looking for abnormalities, defects, things of that nature. And we would generally, if there's something identified, we'd immediately correct it.
Yeah.
But we type up a little memo and put it in our file just for our records. But we use this data in many different ways. Praise Jessica's group for the work that they've done in getting the data to us timely.
Sure.
Has been a very good thing that we find in the district. So thank you, Jessica.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have over 140,000 crashes in Louisiana a year, and 92% of them are in our database within 30 days. So it's actually come a really long way since getting paper reports from officers.
Well, tell us about the process of network screening. That's something I read a lot about as I was doing some research on your section and on the things that y'all do. So what is it? How does it provide you and other safety stakeholders around the state with a more comprehensive understanding of the factors that contribute to this data?
So network screening is it's the process of analyzing the entire roadway network to find locations that are having higher than expected fatalities, injuries, and crashes. So just to put it simply, we have all of these roadways. DOTD owns, I think, over 16,000 miles. So we've got crashes, 140,000 crashes. That's a lot. So where out of all of these crashes should we be focusing on making improvements and investments, safety investments or other investments where are safety problems. So once we finalize a year of data, we start looking at all of the trends and try to, make more proactive decisions with this network screening list. It takes into consideration things like roadway geometry, traffic volumes, and it kind of gives a good comparison of roadway performance. So we're comparing similar roadways to similar roadways. Yeah. And then we share the results with our DOTD districts and then our local stakeholders. We've got a local network screening list now too. And we've started including more crash types and other information that's helpful, I think hopefully helpful for the districts. And then right now we're on hiatus. We usually have an intersection of network screening lists. We're just doing segments right now. But once we get an improved intersection database statewide, we'll be resuming that here shortly. So Jared, you use the network screening list. Do you use it for community requests? Do you look at it annually? How are you using that information?
Yes, we use network screening every day. We get public requests, phone calls, emails, these days Facebook posts. We do investigation for like roadway improvement projects, different types of maintenance operations, and of course safety studies. For example, an individual calls me with a complaint or a request that they may have experienced an unsafe act or at a particular location at a particular time of day. We'll get some detailed information from them. Then we'll go back and we'll go into the CARTS database and pull some crash history. We will look at those network screening process to look at the history of this spot, location, segment, whatever, and then from there we'll find the prevalent issue or issues that may be happening at this location, and then we go to our network of proven safety countermeasures, and we compare that to our existing roadway conditions and data, and we attempt to do, if there's something that we can solve with a low-cost safety improvement, we will implement it almost immediately, as soon as we can get the materials or whatever. But sometimes it's, some sign striping. We can generally do that within a couple of days.
Wow.
So, when the public sees that, someone gets a call, we get a lot of good positive feedback on Facebook again. We use, there's some additional, what I'm going to call or what you call the network screening, was the roadway departure and vulnerable road users. We have been using that a lot here lately, looking at ways to reduce roadway departures and to improve our vulnerable road user, which would be our pedestrians, bicyclists, non-motorized personnel. We try to make those improvements, as needed, and as everyone knows, we have less resources than we need. We need more resources.
We just kind of mentioned bicyclists and pedestrians. Can y'all talk to some of the trends y'all are seeing in Louisiana and say what can our listeners do to contribute positively to a safer environment for these non-motorized vulnerable road users?
Yeah, on the person level, it goes back to safe road users. Bicycles and pedestrian injuries and fatalities have been increasing in Louisiana, even as our total fatalities are falling since 2017. Yeah. So actually, we've seen a really big increase. It's kind of scary, actually. Our key demographic is men 25 to 64. They're much more likely to be involved in bicycle and pedestrian crashes. So, what we tell our road users, slow down in urban areas, especially when people are present at night. I think there's a statistic out there. If you're in a crash at 20 miles an hour, if you're hit by a car, there's a 95% chance that you'll be fine and walk away from it. But if you're hit at 40 miles an hour, your chance of survival is like 15%. Yeah, and at 60 miles an hour, your chance of survival is 0. So speed is a huge factor, especially at night when you can't see people, you don't know. People think that maybe you can see them, and that could be part of the problem. We're also chronically on our phones too much, so put your phone down when you're driving. Don't drive distracted. Be patient. I always say, it's actually hard to hit somebody with your car if you're paying attention. People don't move that fast, so it's really shocking to see these pedestrian crashes and bicycle crashes. We're having so many of them. Jared, do you have any trends or observations in your region?
I'm going to have to say absolutely, Jessica. As you stated, people need to just slow down and reduce their distractions as much as possible. Something that I'm seeing, and I always have a little different perspective than everyone else, is, in urban and rural areas for that matter, we're driving down the road, every business sign, advertisement, billboard, they're all designed and located to distract your driver.
Yeah.
And, I just ask drivers to please be attentive and understand that, this part of our society seems to be seeking our attention even when it's not necessarily in the best interest of safety. In addition to that, many of our roadways, we don't have sidewalks, limited shoulder availability. So as you drive, just pay attention.
Yeah, that's one thing I was just thinking about as you were talking, Jessica, is it's difficult to hit bicyclists or pedestrian unless they surprise you. And oftentimes where they've surprised me, I haven't hit anybody recently, just for the record, or ever. But where they often surprise me isn't just where you said, where there's really no room for them, but they're having to get from point A to point B, and it could be dark, it could be raining, and man, they can come up on you, or you come up on them fast, So I was thinking about, man, like what can be done to design, with them more in mind.
Yeah, and I'm a piggyback with you. We are seeing in our area, in the Lake Charles area, primarily in the, well, I'll say it's not just the urban area, it's rural areas as well.
Really?
Most of our pedestrian type crashes or vulnerable road user crashes are occurring at night. So
Yeah, I think more than 70% of our fatalities for pedestrians are at nighttime, and a lot of times
That makes sense.
just can't see. Not in rural areas, it's hard to have you don't really light for pedestrians, so it's hard to engineer design for all of these people all the time. But we're getting better at it, I think, and it takes time and to kind of implement some of these solutions.
Well, we've been emphasizing a lot, and I like this in this conversation, the application of this crash data, how it's being used to inform the actions of different decision and policy-making groups. So how does the crash data that you process, analyze on a day-to-day basis inform the actions of the highway safety group as a whole, as well as any other decision or policy-making groups at the local and statewide level?
So I think I'm the last highway safety episode that you have. So I think you heard a lot about how we use this data. We use it in everything that we do in highway safety. We use it in our SHSP, our Strategic Highway Safety Plan, our statewide action plans, project planning. We try to integrate safety into all of the sections at DOTD: road design, traffic design, bridge design, traffic engineering, department-wide planning like the long range and freight plans. So on our side, we're really trying to get our data to be, as accurate and timely and consistent and accessible as we can, making sure that we're getting the right information into the right people, into the right people's hands, so that they can make the best decisions that we need for safety and make decisions with safety in mind. I know on Jared's side, they're doing a lot in maintenance and operations for safety at the district. How is your team, Jared, using this to make decisions?
Yeah, I want to kind of compliment you on what you said. All sections within the department are truly a part of the highway safety group.
That's well said.
And we exchange information with the highway safety group. Highway safety group provides us with information, and it's a good friendship. And, and it's all to benefit the road user. I've been a part of a work zone task force for the past couple of years, and we meet regularly to discuss how we can improve the department's temporary traffic control standards. And, all of our improvements were based off of safety data with crashes in work zones. And we sat as a group and tried to mitigate, predominant types of crashes. And we have successfully implemented a new set of TTC standards in February of this year. And we also have, policies on various types for traffic control, pavement marking policies, geometric design. All of those policies are driven by crash data. And the improvements to those policies are really driven by crash data. So, that's what we do every day.
We've talked a lot in this series, really from the start about data-driven approaches, and I think it's cool to see how this kind of comes full circle right here.
What safety dashboards might be available to the public, and where can you share what we can find them? Todd can put some links in the show notes that make it easily accessible, but why do you believe sharing this information is also important for the driving public?
Yeah, so Destination Zero Deaths, DZD.com, I think has some good data, and you can find a link to CARTS on our DOTD website from Highway Safety. CARTS, again, the Center for Analytics and Research in Transportation Safety. I think it's like CARTS.lsu.edu, but they have a whole slew of dashboards about anything that you're interested in: crashes, regional crash data, SHSP crashes, which are the fatal and serious injury bicycle and pedestrian. They've got a cool page about holidays, like you can see the trends over every holiday year.
Interesting.
Like the 4th of July reporting period or the Halloween reporting period. Every time I go there, I find something new. Honestly, they've sliced it in a new way that I haven't seen before. So those are two great resources. But really, I think this data is important to share with the public. It's about improving safety culture, is letting people understand, in America, 40,000 people are killed each year on our roadways. Like, the cost of our transportation system does not need to be this high. The cost right now is human lives, and it's we should be more outraged, I think. We call it the cost of doing business, and it really doesn't have to be. In other countries, in Europe, I know there have been a lot of focus on the safe system approach and how can we design our roadways, design our vehicles to make sure that people can get to where they need to get without dying. Honestly, safety is a shared responsibility, and so we really just want to see more awareness, better implementation of the safe system approach, better data integration into every single thing that we're doing or touching. Safety should be our number one priority. And so giving this information access, keeping it accessible is the most important thing I think that we can do so that people are aware of what's out there and what's happening on our roadways. Are the districts using the dashboards, Jared? Are you familiar with the CARTS website?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, we are, Jessica. We get a lot of public requests, people wanting information. Our phones don't stop. So, with Title 23 of the USC Code, we can only give so much information.
Right.
And these dashboards are very helpful. And I know earlier Jessica spit out a bunch of websites that nobody got. But the easy way to do it is just Google DOTD crash data, and boom, you're going to get more than you want.
Hot tip.
And it's simple to Google. That's how I direct the public to it. I say, look, get on Google, DOTD safety data. They do it. Pulls up the dashboards, and we kind of walk through them, and it's a really good tool for us to use with the public, and we do it every single day.
Thank y'all so much, Jessica and Jared, for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here today. Jared, thanks for making the drive over from Lake Charles. I love getting the district perspective on this. Thanks for all that y'all are doing every day to enhance highway safety across our state. It's really valuable work. I think I would speak for all of our listeners when I say this has been a super insightful and helpful series. Before we go, we do want to have a little bit of fun with you as well. A few final lightning round questions that Garrett has prepared. Don't think too hard about these. Just for fun. Garrett, take it away.
All right, Jess, you're up first, if that's all right.
All right.
Ladies first. Ladies first.
You've been described by multiple people as a foodie.
Oh.
who loves to seek out excellent and unique restaurant experiences wherever you go. So can you share what's the best dining experience you've had outside of Louisiana over the past year, maybe?
Okay, the best outside of Louisiana restaurant experience. This is a tough one, but I was just in Boston. I don't even know the name of this place.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Honestly.
We can chat GPT it.
I know, but it was the 4th of July, and it was so hot, and everybody was like, "It's so miserable, we can't sit outside." And we were like, found a place outside in the turf. There was like food trucks. Ate the best clam strips that I've ever had. A bunch of like raw oysters and raw mussels. It was really chill, just by the water, catching the breeze. I like the whole experience. I would never call myself a foodie per se, but
Apparently you have a reputation.
I know. Well, I'm a planner, so I like always know where I'm going. And
That count.
well, actually, my sister is kind of a foodie. She lives in New Orleans, and she has a king cake Instagram, Crew to King Cake. So it's actually been a great thing for when your sister has the king cake Instagram, because she has to do all the work. But she's like, "Hey, I've had way too much king cake. Can you come and pick this up?"
Yes.
So she tries over like 1,000 king cakes a year. So if you need recommendations, check out. She's the real foodie, Crew to King Cake.
Well, we don't want to start a fight, so we won't ask your favorite king cake. But we also understand you like to run.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so
Balance.
It's balanced. That's fair. Well, you got to run and make up for the king cake. Can you share some practical recommendations for someone who currently isn't a runner but would like to get into it?
Oh wow! Don't start in July.
Yes. Good advice.
Don't start in July. I like to run indoors. I know real runners don't maybe like to run indoors. I like a treadmill, like a nice springy treadmill, some good bouncy shoes. Don't ruin those knees, but just ease into it a couple miles at a time.
That works.
Yeah, and weight training too.
Hey, Jared, we've been told, and I've witnessed, that you're quite a prankster around the office.
A little.
So,
Ooh.
could you share what is maybe one of the funniest or most creative pranks you've ever pulled, or that's been pulled on you?
That's appropriate. For
Yeah, this guy's gonna kill me for this, but a couple years ago, this guy got him this new crossbow, and it was like state of the art, top of the line crossbow, several $1,000s, and look, he brings it in. It's in this big nice case. He's showing it to us, and he walks in the back office to show another guy in our office. So his scope is sitting there. So it's in this nice box and case. So I grab the scope, and I also go and grab my stapler. And I grab my stapler and I put it in my back pocket, and I walk to him with the scope, and I showed the guy, I don't want to say his name, as he was talking to our coworker, and I said, "Man, you ought to look at this scope. Look how nice this scope is." And immediately, he didn't want anybody touching this thing. So, the guy looks at it. So I said, "Well, look, I'm going to go bring it back." So I walk out the office. As soon as I walk out the office, I grab the stapler out my pocket, and I just throw it on the ground. And it sounded excellent. That guy come around the corner, and he wasn't too happy, but we were all laughing. So it was a good prank. It was probably a little harder than I should have.
Was it a swing line?
What? Who?
A swing line, stapler.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Or sling.
Right. We also know that you're a huge LSU football fan. Yeah.
I am.
In your opinion, what is maybe their make or break key to the team's success this year? Or any thoughts on the upcoming season?
Well, I voted on Dandy Don this morning. So it's obviously running the football. They have to be able to run the football successfully with the running backs.
Yes.
Not necessarily depend on our quarterback. I believe our quarterback needs to run the ball a little bit, but our offensive line and our running backs are going to be key.
All right. Well, thank y'all again for your time, for everything you shared with us today. It really was a privilege to have y'all as our guest, telling us more about what you do, why it matters to the people of our great state.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Todd and Garrett. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate the opportunity. And thank you, Jessica, for
Of course. I learned some things too, Jared. It's great.
We're going to step away for a quick moment before we close out today's episode and this series. Well, that's a wrap on episode 20 of The Driving Force, presented by the Louisiana Transportation Research Center. You can learn more about what's happening at LTRC on a daily basis by visiting us online at ltrc.lsu.edu or on social media through Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We always encourage you to like, follow, and subscribe to our channels on each of these platforms to stay up to date. You can also learn more about safety data, crash data, and analysis by visiting the DOTD Highway Safety and CARTS websites. We'll link to both of those in the show notes. And on our next episode, we are jumping into something brand new. There's a lot of great research efforts happening here at LTRC. We are a research center, after all. And so we'll have Dr. Tyson Rupno, our Associate Director for Research, here to give us an overview of the various transportation research work ongoing here at the center and how it's impacting our state for good. Until then, we are your hosts, Garrett Wheat and Todd Blunt, and we thank you so much again for joining us today. Drive safely out there.